gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for October 19th, 2023 for the next hour or so. Let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Nintendo fans think the company might be preparing for a Switch 2 info drop, and we might know when the next PlayStation is releasing. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Jan Ochoa, everybody. Jan, how are you doing on this Thursday?
I'm doing terrible because yesterday at a local Jamba Juice, I guess they're just called Jambas now.
They are weird.
The young man at the cashier just said, "Hello, sir." And then I told him my order, and then he just looked at me, finger guns, and went, "Yazerski." And I'm like, what the fuck did you just say to me?
Is that like related to a skidit?
No, because I think like he just added a ski to yes, sir.
It's a Polish yes, sir. I see. Okay. I understand now.
And then I felt so old, and then I fell yesterday because I twisted my ankle just standing up.
Oh, okay. I see what's happening.
I can't hang out with you. I can't hang out with you guys anymore. I can't hang out with the GameSpot crew either.
To you. You're catching what we have, age.
I can't hang out with the GameSpot crew either because we're all the same age, so we're all aging together.
You guys are like looking at each other and being like, "Your back hurt?" Yep, my back hurts.
Now I realize why the older crew hired Ben, Abby, and I. It's like, oh, we need their youth.
We need their your youngin juice. We gotta just like feast upon their souls. Yeah, I mean, it seemed to work. It seemed to do something.
We need to do that. I need to absorb youth.
Yeah. It's double-sided, right? Because then you got to listen to them talk shit about the N64, and it's like, oh man.
That's all right. I don't have any feelings about it.
That's okay. That's my own old man. A cross I have to carry. I don't know. It's I am at a point where I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going to be playing Super Mario Brothers Wonder tonight, and that's all I can kind of think about. I'm so excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wait, did you beat Sonic yet then?
Well, we don't have to get in the specifics. I'm very close. The more I play of that game, the more I don't like it. It's rough. It's a rough game.
Did you like Sonic Mania?
I love Sonic Mania. That's the one Sonic game that I kind of, without caveats, enjoy and think is very good. And so that clearly that means Sonic can be good and has been good. And the parts it brings to those Genesis games, which I think are okay, but I have my issues with them. Whatever. Some of them are skill issues, whatever. But a lot of it's just like it doesn't mesh with me. Like the Mega Man games don't really mesh with the way I play. I don't think the Mega Man games are bad though. I think Sonic can be bad even when people think some of those games are good. This one, it's just kind of mostly boring, mostly uninspired, and the boss fights are just all kind of silly in they're trying to elongate them. In the previous Sonic games, you could just get a bunch of hits in on the boss really quickly, and it's like, oh, that kind of trivializes it. It's good to be trivialized if there's not a lot going on in the boss fight, and there's still not a lot going on, but they have these long phases where you can't actually hit the boss, even with the special powers that I've now unlocked a lot more of, realizing that would be helpful. It is helpful, but it doesn't always make the boss fights go by that much faster. So, and then Mike tweeted last night that I'm not going to like the final boss in that game. So, gonna have to see what that is. I think I have one zone left, so 2x, and then I'll get to that final boss, and we'll see how that goes. So I'll do that today at some point, and then I'll be ready for Mario.
We go.
It's all lining up.
There we go, Grubb.
All right, let's it's Bowser. Says poop stomp. That'd be great. I would like that. Let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with The original Switch reveal trailer has been removed from Nintendo's YouTube channel. This is from Jim Norman at Nintendo Life. Get ready to put on your detective hats, folks, because there's a mystery afoot. The Nintendo Switch reveal trailer, the one where groups of trendy people play the up-and-coming console at such memorable and realistic venues as a rooftop party or at a basketball court, has been removed from the official Nintendo YouTube channel. This was first brought to our attention by Reddit user Carbvan on Reddit/r/gaming leaks and rumors. And sure enough, looking at the YouTube channel in question, the reveal trailer is nowhere to be found. Of course, the video remains available online through outer outlets, the ones posted by GameSpot, for example, so you could still find inspiration for which wacky and wonderful location you will play your Switch next. But the question still stands, why has it been removed from its initial source? Now, Jan, I think if we Occam's razor this first, let's do that first.
Let's Occam this razor.
Let's Occam this razor for once, Jan. Licensing issues, right? This is you make a commercial, and a lot of that's going to be done by a production company. This was probably not done fully internally at Nintendo. They probably worked with a marketing partner, and that marketing partner is going to do what they do with everything, which is they're going to record some original stuff, and then they're going to pull from libraries, and that means they're going to have to license stuff. And maybe one of the things is like, hey, we had an ongoing license as part of subscription. We've now switched services, and we don't have that anymore, and we need to notify our clients that the thing that they made might not be covered on our end. Maybe they can do it themselves. And Nintendo just says, nah, we're good. We're just going to take it down. That's the simplest solution and simplest answer. I think that's probably right. You might be more familiar with this side of things than I am. Does that sound right to you?
It sounds right. But I feel like for a client that is as big as Nintendo, you would have cleared a library just so whatever rights are a little bit more evergreen, especially if it's like dealing with something that is a trailer for the launch of your next major console. I was jokingly thinking that maybe he was a background actor that may have had an issue or something.
Oh, sure.
Like something may have popped up where a background actor, someone even involved with the production may have gone into some hot water, and that would cause Nintendo
you could see that
react to want to pull it down. The music and other assets make a lot more sense. I thought for a second as well that rooftops were canceled.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just rooftop. They don't want to encourage people to be on rooftops. Earthquakes are happening all the time, constantly, pretty much. So,
there.
Yeah. Did you feel that one yesterday?
Not at all.
Okay.
not in the slightest.
Well, still, keep safe, Jan. But okay, so the Occam's razor stuff, probably licensing. Maybe the possibility that someone involved with it is problematic now or something like that. I think that's a reasonable thing to consider as a possibility here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were we going to say?
Well, you were probably, bless you. The thing we were probably heading to is this being like them taking the initial trailer down to promote a new trailer, and that just doesn't make sense to me either, though. Like that train of thought I can't follow. So
that is where not everybody, but some people are speculating, and most people who are speculating that are going, now listen, I know this is probably not the case, but what if? And I think if we try, let's work backwards from, let's say that is what's happening here, Jan. Let's just play along. I think I could find ways to justify why Nintendo might do that. And those reasons mostly being the Wii U experience that they had, where they think maybe in their heads, and they're probably right about this, that there was confusion about the Wii U versus the Wii, and they want to avoid that happening again. Now, I think removing the original launch trailer for the Switch doesn't really address anything that might happen, where it's like, hey, this is called a Switch U. That's not going to really help that much, but I could see how someone might say, well, let's just remove that so there's no confusion when people go looking for this trailer. That would have to be someone who doesn't really understand how YouTube works. But at Nintendo, I can imagine that feels like a big stretch. It feels like a real stretch, Jan.
Even then, to try and avoid market confusion for another similarly named product, I also feel like, I know we clown on Nintendo a lot for not knowing how to operate online, but I would have to assume they've learned their lesson, and they're not going to call the successor to the Switch 2 Switch U or something so close in the name. just to avoid like that debacle again.
Yep.
I still even then with the caveat of like, oh, maybe just to avoid people online being dumb. Despite a lot of people on the internet being dumb, I'm going to give them a little bit more credit than that.
Yes, I think I agree with you. Okay, so the original trailer did have a licensed song, "Ha Ha 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 Yeah," by White Denim. And let's see, that appears to be, I'm going to read this from the story now. A Reddit user, They Call Me Radic, points out that song appears to be in some legal trouble after the track's initial distributors were recently taken over by another company. I think we have our answer right there, right?
Yeah. It turns out it may not be even a licensing issue on Nintendo or the market or the production company's fault, but the actual band itself.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of this pop up within this past year even. I mean, there was like the whole stuff of the Marvin Gaye estate having beef with Ed Sheeran over some sampling issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, sampling stuff in clearance happens all the time in music.
Yeah, every single track basically that I like these days is sampled from something else. So yeah, I for something like this, this makes so much sense because Nintendo, especially Nintendo of America, is very, very litigation savvy, and they are going to position themselves in a defensive way where it is we're not going to just be like, oh well, how can we continue using this track? They would much rather be, let's play it safe, pull this down, and wash our hands of it. That's the much better option here. Now, I think the trailer should be preserved because it's a part of like the history of like the how the system released and is important. And I suppose having it still up on stuff like GameSpot, like that's great. I'm glad it's still there. But I think Nintendo, a company that is about to launch its own museum, should be a little bit more forthright about like preserving this stuff and explaining to people, hey, yeah, we're taking it down because of these legal reasons. We will find a way to maintain it in some other way, or it will be like the original assets that we created this with will be preserved, and we will actually have that in the museum, and then we'll have some digital version of the museum where people can watch this or something like that. That would be ideal. I think Nintendo, even with them opening this museum, are so far away from that form of thinking, and they're not alone in that. A lot of companies are that way, but I don't know. Are you hopeful that that's changing as these companies kind of look back at their legacy and see that that's more important?
Yeah, I would like to imagine that a lot of companies, at least some people near the top, embrace the history or like the legacy that the current companies are built upon. I mean, sometimes we see that with production companies when it comes to movies, especially if Nintendo is intending on building like a proper museum. Stuff like print campaigns are so fun to look at. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I love looking through old video game magazines and just seeing how like marketing was trying to reflect what was hot at the time, and just like taking pot shots at each other, especially with launch trailers for consoles, because it's like, wow, like remember the early promises of this, or like how we thought this was going to be dumb, but it turns out like we all were on rooftops partying with each other with our Switch.
Yeah, it's I think it's valuable to understand how these companies try to sell us something versus how they try to make us feel happy with something. Like, hey, you are going to use all of these features and all this stuff's going to matter, and that's that forced obsolescence thing where it's like the system I have now can't play on rooftops. I gotta do something about that. I gotta get that, and then you get it, and you're like, actually, I'm just happy about this thing because it has fucking Mario and Zelda. Having that perspective is helpful, but also forced obsolescence and those early marketing promises will always work, and these companies will keep doing it. So it's not like we're at like learn our lesson or something like that, but still being able to look back and have that evidence of being able to tell these stories of how these companies try to get us to feel anxious about jumping ahead to the next device. I think I want to keep exploring that and looking back at the history of that stuff, and having those resources readily available is going to be important. But yeah. That Nintendo. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Nintendo America museum that we went to at part of PAX, that was great because of all this stuff. Where it's like, oh yeah, look at these things. Just look at these and the original art right next to it. I'm really glad that stuff is preserved.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for a lot of games media stuff just surrounding the industry, a lot of it was on tape, and if it weren't for people like Danny O'Dwyer archiving a lot of that, some of that may just get lost to time. Unfortunately,
absolutely. Go check out his game tape preservation stuff he's doing. A lot of good stuff. 1080p versions of Ridge Racer, which is very important. All right, let's move on here. PS5 Slim's release date and Spider-Man 2 bundle have seemingly leaked. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. New details about the PlayStation 5 Slim release date and Sony's bundle plans have seemingly been uncovered. The company recently announced that it will launch a smaller PS5 model in November in the US before rolling it out to other regions in the following months. Like the launch model, the new PS5 will be available in the form of a standard edition featuring a disc drive and a digital edition without one. According to highly reliable data miner Bill Kuhn, Sony's planning to release a PS5 Slim standard edition console bundled with Marvel's Spider-Man 2 on November 8th in the US. It will reportedly cost $560, which is the same price as the current PS5 model bundled with the upcoming game, which will be released tomorrow. Somewhat confusingly, Bill Kuhn's report also lists the PS5 Slim, standard and digital release date, as November 10th in the United States. It could be that they've uncovered conflicting information about the console's launch date, or perhaps that Sony intends to release the Spider-Man 2 bundle a couple of days before PS5 Slim is made available standalone. And Jan, I could easily see that, right?
Yeah. Oh, wholeheartedly. It's weird that, I understand production takes time, but wouldn't you want to ramp this up in time for the launch?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was kind of, as we got through September and we hadn't heard about this, and like Spider-Man was just like basically in our hands at that point. It's like, well, that's weird. If they're not going to get it out before Spider-Man 2, it must not be happening. And it's like, well, okay, maybe they must have just had some production issues or something like that. Or any number of things could have gone wrong, or they have whatever strategic reason for doing this. Maybe it is to clear out the stock of the original PS5s that they are phasing out. Maybe that they're doing that alongside Spider-Man 2 and they decided that was more important. Whatever it is, I get why it's like, well, listen, we're going to sell a lot of Spider-Man 2 and we are going to clear a lot of PS5 as that game launches. But even as we get a few weeks away from the launch, Spider-Man 2 is still going to be the thing that people are buying PS5s for, and it's the thing that people are going to buy with PS5s. So let's make sure that when we are trying to get this Slim out the door and get it a strong start, let's give it just a 2-day head start with Spider-Man. Again, I very easily could be conflicting information. I think Tom is right to point that out. But I could believe that Sony's like, yeah, if you want it now, you have to buy it with Spider-Man 2. And I could see them pulling the trigger on that.
Yeah. Now that you frame it that way, 100%, I see that logic of thinking. And also, it's obscene to think, Jeff Grubb, that we're more than halfway through October already.
It's obscene.
So, the holidays are slowly approaching. Jesus. I know that these definitely will not go on sale during Black Friday, but, sometimes capitalism will pop off. And once you're there, you see it in front of you. It's like, all right, I'll finally. Oh,
yeah. I think that's you have these things out in time for Black Friday, not to necessarily lower the price, but to do exactly what you said. You get up, you got up 6 a.m., you went to Best Buy to go get the new album from Taylor Swift. And then while you're there, it's right in front of you.
1989, baby. Let's
1989, yeah. And then, you see the PS5 and you pick it up. Now, who knows if they're going to be available in stores, what production levels are like. They seem to have fixed a lot of that, but, anytime you're launching a new variation, you kind of reset the clock on that a little bit. But we'll see. At the very least, I think people will be like, I want this as fast as possible. And if I already have Spider-Man 2, whatever, I'll get it again, and I'll just give away the code or whatever it is, or the physical version of the game, if that's what they're bundling it with, to a friend, or I'll sell it or whatever. So
yeah,
we'll see. I am still like mostly on the fence, but mostly on the not going to get it side for the PS5 Slim. I just keep thinking how I never really consider the PS5 and where it's at, because it fits nicely into my entertainment center over there. But it would be, I wouldn't hate having another PS5 upstairs, Jan. That one, every once in a while, that could work. This is what happens. This is how I get in trouble with these things and buying another system. I don't know. How about you? Any chance?
I was thinking about it as well. I was thinking about it as well because, like, I may be in a situation soon where I'll be in 2 locations and need a PS5 here and a PS5 over
Exactly. Yeah. See, you get it. You get it. Now everyone in the chat yelling at us doesn't get it, but you get it.
The problem is, though, PS5 Slim, regular base PS5, ugly as sin.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I like how ugly it is, but I don't disagree.
It just, like, I wish you were a nicely, like, small box I could place somewhere. Right now, my PS5 is hidden behind both of my monitors.
Yeah, I like that move. I approve of that move.
I just never see it.
Yeah, mine is so it's in the entertainment center below the TV, but when I'm in the recliner, I kick my feet up and then I can't see any of the consoles, so I never actually end up looking at it. Let me ask, do you think the PlayStation 5 is the ugliest PlayStation console?
No. I think the PS3 is the worst designed console because of the concave. Is that the right word?
The convex would be for
convex.
That. But the George Foreman grill is the one you're talking about, right? Like
yes,
the one that,
the George Foreman.
Yes,
grill,
the one that looks like the George Foreman grill. I never liked that either. I thought it was kind of tacky looking.
Yeah.
But
PS1, gorgeous.
Yes.
PS2, gorgeous.
Definitely.
Mini PS2, wow.
Yes, holy smokes, that thing is perfect. Yes, yeah. I agree. I think for me, I dislike the PS3 more than the PS5.
The PS4 was just boring.
Sure, yeah, got its job done. I like the PS5 Pro where it's like let's just add another stack on another tier on this thing. So instead of having like one of those just one gap, it's got 2 gaps. And it's like, oh man, this really is a pro model. I don't know why that worked, but it got me going. My PS5 or PS4 Pro, Jan, I probably showed this to you before, has wood paneling on it. I got one of those like things where you can like stick wood paneling on it. And I always look at it, I'm like, man, that thing's cool looking.
You remember, I miss that time in tech where, like, hey, let's put wood paneling on everything.
Too, man, I really miss it. I wish it was like a normal thing again, but that's so 70s and 80s at this point that
I had a phone, an iPhone 3G with a wood panel case.
Oh man, yeah, that's perfect. I love that.
Oh God.
All right. Spider-Man 2 update will add New Game Plus and Mission Replay post-launch. This is from Tom Ivan at VGC. Insomniac Games has said Spider-Man 2 will get a New Game Plus mode after its release. It's expected to be added to the game alongside a Mission Replay feature in a post-launch update, according to James Stevenson, Insomniac's Director of Community and Marketing. Hello, James. We're working on an update for those features, but they won't be in day one, he said in response to a question on Twitter. Later adding should be before the end of this year. So that's pretty cool. I think New Game Plus is something where I never really engaged with it much, and now I'm like considering it more and more, mostly because of Armored Core 6. The New Game Plus in that has been so good. I never actually fully played through the whole thing, but you feel so powerful by the end. And going through it again, it's like I'm just ripping through everything, especially when like before they nerfed the shotguns, I was just melting everybody as I was going through there again. So yeah, and I do have this urge to play through more Spider-Man 2, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just do New Game Plus. Now I'm at a point where I'd probably still would 100% the game, and that might actually end up satisfying me. But I'm also like, man, I like some of that story stuff. I like those characters enough that I would want to go through some of that again. But I would dislike giving up all of my upgrades, so I would probably actually just want to do New Game Plus. So I'm hopeful this comes out soon, and maybe it's the kind of thing where in December when things slow down, I could be doing that instead. I don't know.
Yeah, you kick back with your PlayStation Portal.
Yeah, it is. Yes, you get it.
You know, New York all over again during the holidays.
Yeah, that does sound good, man. PlayStation Portal, I'm 100% buying that. I don't care how many times chat yells at me about that one. It was really hard to rip myself away from it yesterday. I completed some of those side quests.
The Flame. Yep.
I recommend that one. That's what we'll say. We'll just I recommend doing that side story. That one's it's going to go places I think people are going to enjoy. So yes, I recommend it.
And folks, just actually all of the side quests, just pick one and just see it through as soon as you can. But also don't rush through the game. Yeah, I wish it wasn't in a position where I had to feel like I had to rush through the game. Man.
Yep.
What a great game.
Yeah, I think just take your time with that side quest stuff. I agree with you. And you're right to pick one and just see it through. And the game makes that really manageable, really easy to do that. It doesn't feel like, okay, I got to go do 17 of these same exact things. It's nothing like that. It's actually the furthest away from that one of these open world games has been, I think. So yeah, just super duper approve of all the stuff they did with that kind of content.
You know, honestly, Grubb, I wouldn't mind if this game was just like really bespoke side quests.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that's why Miles Morales hit differently than Spider-Man 1.
Agreed.
You know?
Yeah. And I think that they improved it here. And I hope that I don't need like big story DLC, but if they put in like, okay, and here's like 4 more of these side quest strings.
That we cut during production.
Exactly. You know, or, you know, as they get, you know, the game has like the Avengers Tower and stuff. That's something that was in the first game. It's like, oh, what if you could go in there and do something? And again, I don't need the characters to be in there or whatever. That might be difficult, but like suggestion of the characters is always fun. And I don't know, doing more stuff with that could be cool, but whatever. I'm satisfied and happy with that game as it is. So just, yes, really recommend people dive in and enjoy it at your own pace for sure.
I feel really greedy wanting more.
Yes, I know. Exactly. Yeah. It's, that's the thing with these games. You know, they, spend 5 years, 6 years of their lives, and I play it through in like 2 weekends. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, this feels massive. It feels big. It feels robust. And yet I could ask for more. And they're like, yeah, that would have been another 3 years of my life. Okay. All right. I get it. I'm sorry. You're right.
Like, I'm sorry for asking. I'll go back.
Yeah. I'll shut up. All right. We're going to take a quick break, everybody. When we get back, we're going to talk about a lot more news after this. We're back. Did you wait, huh? Well, not anymore. We're going to talk about Xbox could become irrelevant if it doesn't thrive in mobile, Phil Spencer says. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. Microsoft has always said its deal to buy Activision Blizzard King was mostly about getting a foothold in the mobile gaming space, and now Phil Spencer has discussed this further. Appearing on the Xbox podcast recently, and we had a couple stories from this yesterday, everybody, Spencer said Microsoft runs the risk of becoming irrelevant if it doesn't find a way to have success in the mobile game market, which is bigger than console and PC. I am really looking forward to learning on mobile. The truth of the matter is, if you're going to continue to be relevant in gaming at a global scale, you're going to have to find a way to be relevant on the largest platform, which is mobile. Now that Microsoft owns Activision Blizzard and King, the company takes ownership of the juggernaut Candy Crush series, Diablo Immortal, Call of Duty Mobile, and every other mobile game from ABK. This is independent of whatever internal plans Microsoft might have had already for the mobile gaming space, including potentially its own mobile game store. You know, he goes on to talk about, hey, gaming's growing to like 3 billion people and all this stuff. And they were never really going to be able to reach that with just an Xbox console. Like that was, the ship had sailed on the console sort of reaching that level of success after phones and tablets came into that space. And most people are like, no, this is where I'm going to play games. And it is most people compared to, you know, in just terms of sheer numbers to console players. Microsoft has said in its documentation that was like submitted to the court, and they might have said it publicly, but the rumor has been they're going to have their own mobile gaming store, and it's something that could launch next year. And that would be like, hey, you can go here to get Candy Crush Saga, Call of Duty Mobile, and maybe some other stuff, and maybe stuff will be cheaper, or maybe it actually won't be in the Apple App Store or Google Play anymore. You need to install this separate store, and the new laws and regulation that's coming in place from Europe and other places might enable that to be easier to accomplish. In fact, you might even be able to find the Microsoft Store in the App Store. Now, we'll see how that plays out and whether or not Microsoft's able to make that happen. But I'll say that Epic did try this with Fortnite, which is a massively successful game. They tried it on Android, where it is relatively easy to sideload app stores. You've been able to do it for more than a decade now with the Amazon App Store. And Amazon App Store back then was like giving away free apps all the time, and this is back when most apps were paid. But that never got anywhere. Not on proper Android. They had to sell their own hardware to turn the Amazon App Store into a real thing. I think if Amazon and Epic couldn't do it, I don't think Microsoft can just do it because they're Microsoft and they have they have Candy Crush Saga, as big as that is. I don't think you can get people to change their behavior from using the default thing installed on a smartphone. That, like, the reason you buy a smartphone is it just works, and you just use the stuff that's right in front of you. I don't know. Am I wrong, Jan?
You are not wrong at all. The idea of trying to create a separate storefront to exist on an iPhone specifically seems insane.
Yeah,
it seems like a fool's errand.
Yeah.
In this instance, to try and condition whole groups of people. Like, all right, well, I used to just go here to play Candy Crush. Now you're telling me I have to go open this app to download that so I can update or download this. Those people are going to leave. Those people are going to leave and find something even more simpler to use. If Epic can't win the separate storefront on PCs, where folks are a little bit more, it's more open. Folks are a little bit more tech savvy, but they just enjoy the convenience of Steam. That same behavior pattern is more evident on mobile.
Yeah, more ingrained. Just like the momentum there is so much stronger, and you know, Candy Crush Saga, you get that, and it is an institution on mobile. It has been the top grossing game or close to it in the top 3 every year for the last 11 years. And it's like, just because all those things are true doesn't mean that you have this captive audience that you can do whatever you want with. You still have to deal with human behaviors of, we're mostly lazy. We mostly just want to do things the way we have done them. And if you change them up on us, we're probably just going to be like, oh, where'd Candy Crush go? And you're going to go in the store and search for Candy Crush, and you're going to get a clone instead, because that's easier than figuring out whatever Microsoft's doing. No, you want me to create an Xbox Live account on my iPhone? No, I'm good.
Yeah, for some people, have trouble even creating like the specific store to phone ID that they need.
Yeah.
And you expect them to create another login for another account, and then they're just have them accept terms and agreements here, perhaps try and lure them into signing up for a membership. People are just going to swipe away. Unless you have like AI yearbook photos or whatever, then people will be totally willing to pay for that. I
guess.
Of
course. Yeah. Have my money. I don't really believe Microsoft is going to make Candy Crush Saga or Call of Duty Mobile exclusive to the Xbox mobile store. But if it's not going to do that, which again, I don't think they will, but if they're not going to do that, then what chance on earth does the store stand? Because then if people don't have to use it, they won't even consider it as an option. They won't even ever think about it. So, maybe I'm wrong, but I just, and maybe they can, maybe regulators get so aggressive, they're like, no, you need to include another app store on your thing at launch. I don't think we'll ever get to that point, but maybe Microsoft thinks they're going to get to that point and are hoping to ride those coattails. But it's like, Microsoft should be careful there, because then they would have to stop. They would probably have to stop or include some other options into Windows, something they probably don't want to do. So this is a tricky situation that I hey, good luck, but I would not be imagining spending $10 billion trying to turn this into a thing.
No. And like, the thing you could just, Phil, just look at what Epic has done. Just look at them, look at them over there.
Yep.
You could try and offer them free games, free incentives to download whatever side-loaded Microsoft store there is on mobile, whether it's on Android or Apple. But even then, that isn't enough to incentivize everyone to flip over and convert.
Yep.
Like, we've seen Epic give free games out week to week, but that is not enough to build momentum for people to also download and enjoy and solely use the Epic Game Store. It's not enough.
Yeah, we've seen other services kind of do similar things where people already are. Like Twitch had that the Twitch PC app. I don't know if they still have that. But one of the things that you could do in there is you could get games that were like Amazon was providing, and like some of them were free. A lot of them were free, and no one fucking used that thing. And I mean, some people did, but no one like used it to then go buy games or something like that. And like Discord, I think Discord had something like kind of equivalent to Game Pass for a little bit, and it's some of these games are pretty good and interesting. And this is a relatively cheap service, it's like $5 a month. And people are like, no, I don't come Discord to use that. I already have my games over here. I'm just going to keep doing that. It's like, even if people are already in these places, it's hard to get them to change their behavior. A Microsoft Game Store, separate from anything else, that I suppose maybe they could include it as a required app to install to get something like a Call of Duty Mobile to work. It's like, oh yeah, Call of Duty Mobile, you need to sign an Xbox Live, and that's going to have an app installed. And oh god, guess what? There's a store in there. I don't think any of that matters. It doesn't really have the stickiness to get people to change their behavior.
Yeah, it's just so hard to try and change that behavior, Grubb, unless they were trying to. Do you think they'd attempt to make a phone again?
I don't know. I mean, they had the Surface Duo, right? But that was a couple years ago, and I don't know if they've had an update on any of those. I'm trying. I mean, boy, I was interested in one of those phones a little bit from a distance, but I'm at a point where I'm like, the Pixel software. I can't get a phone now, Jan, that doesn't answer spam calls for me and doesn't even like ring my phone anymore. It's just like, no, I'm a robot. I'm handling this. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you if it's important. And the only phone that really does that fully in the way I need it to is the Pixel. So I'm locked in.
Does it shoot in log?
It doesn't shoot in log. So you're locked in over there. Listen, if you're going to shoot video with your phone, you stick with iPhone. All right. You don't come over here. I promise you, you're happier over there. But for my purposes, in terms of just fucking answer my phone for me, robot, that's the Pixel. So I was like, Microsoft making a phone. It's Android. It's a Duo. I suppose they probably do ramp that back up if that's what they're really trying to do here with this store, huh? Because they could sell. Do they sell Android tablets? I don't know. I guess Android apps work on Windows now. I don't know. I'm like trying to put the pieces together, Jan, to see how this can make sense, and everything sort of hits like an obvious wall, an obvious obstruction where it's like, nope, that blows it up. That blows it up. That blows it up. I don't know.
It feels like, yo, Phil, you acquired Activision Blizzard, not just for Activision and Blizzard, but for the king part of that deal, where you're no longer searching for a space in the mobile gaming market. You are just a big giant in the mobile gaming market now with King.
Yeah.
And then all the other stuff that comes with Activision and Blizzard in the mobile market as well is just icing on the cake at that point.
Yeah.
So maybe don't mess with something that ain't broke.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. Again, I'm trying to like find the way that this could work. Maybe the solution for them is
shoot in log,
right? That's gotta be.
I'll stop.
Maybe they're like, well, instead of going through regulators, they go to Google and Apple and say, hey, how about let's have a deal, and it could be a sweetheart deal for you, but you do include the Microsoft Game Store on your devices, and that helps you deal with your regulator problem, because now you've given people an alternative, and now they have options. And you don't take, and you could have some cut, but it's not as much of a cut. But you don't have control over it. We do. So now you can point to regulators and be like, we are offering choices, and it's Microsoft and it's established, and they have this promise to support this for 10 years or whatever. Maybe that's what they think can happen here. I think Microsoft has an optimism about being able to make these deals that would make them try to attempt something like that. I don't know if it'll work, but I guess we'll see. All right, let's see here. Sony files patent application for PS5 controller that stores and charges earbuds. This is from Cameron Coe at GameSpot. Sony's DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5 already features a touchpad, adaptive triggers, a gyroscope, and a built-in speaker and microphone. If a recently filed Sony patent application is any indication, a new feature could soon be added to that list: the ability to store and charge earbuds within the DualSense itself. First spotted by Gamerant, the patent application was published on October 12th and includes diagrams of what the next generation of DualSense controller may look like. The images show slots for housing earbuds on the back of the controller, behind the DualSense touchpad, or on each side of the controller's handles. That being said, the documentation notes that the pair of slots is not restricted to be defined on the back side of the controller, but can also be defined on other surfaces of the controller, including the front side. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, they put the slots wherever they want. Jan, this is, at first blush, I think this is cool. And then I think about it for a second. I'm like, oh, that would make that battery last for even fewer hours. And I don't want that at all. That would suck. That would be bad. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But I like this idea in theory.
Yeah, me too. It seems it seems like a fun thing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking this because I've been having to hot swap my headphones between my PS5 and my PC here. And it's a little bit of a hassle with a Gogsler.
Sure.
Having the stupidest placement for a headphone jack.
Real dumb. The Mini has it out front, and I'm like, I should get that Mini out instead, because I do have a Mini back there in that closet I've never used.
That's so much smarter.
Yeah, but oh well.
But yeah, it seems like a very novel thing and something I'd be very curious to check out. But then I worry about like weight distribution of the DualSense. And then, like, do we have to factor in rumble at all, messing up the charging plates in the controller? Is that something that they've thought about?
Yeah, Sony's engineers are good enough that they probably have a solution for that, right? But you're right, that could like cause the contacts to, jostle loose or something like that. So they'd have to really consider it. You'd have to probably have extra padding in there that keeps that thing lodged in place.
And I know that wireless is the way to go with these earbuds. But I think it'd be fun and stupid if they were just wired.
Yes. Yeah. I like that. Just like dang, like when the controller, the door breaks and they just have to dangle out all the time or whatever when you're not using them. I would like that a lot. That'd be fun. All right. We'll see if this happens. This would be a kind of a weird thing if they actually did this, but I would be all in favor. I like gimmicks in my controllers. So give me more gimmicks. Can you turn that down a little bit? Just the volume? Thanks, dude. All right. She's home and she's immediately going to Sonic, I think, everybody. Here it is, Jan.
Someone's going to beat it.
Someone has to beat it. Yes. Hey, beat Sonic for me. All right. Ayaneo's new handheld looks like a 2023 Nintendo DS successor, Jan. You did it. You did it, baby.
I did it.
This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Tech company Ayaneo is pumping out more hardware iterations than we could possibly keep up with. Yeah. But its latest efforts, it's a lot of them, is of particular interest thanks to the remarkable resemblance to Nintendo's own DS line. The Ayaneo DS is on its way.
Yeah, I don't think you could call it that.
I wonder if they're actually going to end up being able to call it that. It boasts a 7-inch 120 hertz display screen with an additional screen housed in the classic clamshell design popularized by the Nintendo DS. A second iteration has also been announced called the Ayaneo Flip KB. Only this one sports a rather finicky keyboard in place of the second screen. Jan, here's the ones I want. I wanted the dual screen one. Mm-hmm. And I want one with a keyboard, but not with like a flip. I want it to be a kick out, like a sidekick. I want to get back to that T-Mobile sidekick life so bad.
Oh, yes, I'm dying for that.
It was a better time. We were all happier. I was happier. Let's go back to that. Instead of these touchscreen phones, give me my sidekick phone. I'm gonna get this, Jan. I'm gonna get it. I want it real bad. Listen. I have my DS. I have my DS Lights. I have a 3D, a new 3DS, and a new 3DS. And they're both XLs. And many of those things are hacked to hell. And I have all my games installed on there, and they're good to go. I don't need this. I can play whatever game I want on real hardware.
Yeah,
Jan, I'm gonna buy it.
I know this because you have a problem.
Yes,
and I feel like. I'm also gonna purchase this because I love the Nintendo DS. I'm gonna say it may be Nintendo's best handheld, also for the fact that you could play Game Boy Advance games. But if you live in a modern age, virtually any and everything can play Game Boy Advance games.
Yes, true.
But let's do this. I love how all of these little handhelds are just getting churned out constantly.
Yes. People I think sometimes use it as a pejorative. I never do. These Chinese handhelds where I'm like, nope, I love that there are just like 50 little manufacturers in China experimenting with all these different ideas. That rules. It's like they all are like, what if a Radio Shack turned into a manufacturing plant? And give me all of them. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. Now, we have had clamshell designed handhelds in the recent past from these Chinese handheld manufacturers, and the clamshell hinge has been pretty bad, which is always a risk you run with clamshell designs from a company that's not like, hey, we have to run customer support on this for like 7-8 years. We don't want that shit breaking for everybody. So I will get this. But I'm like, I know I'm rolling the dice in terms of the quality of that hinge, Jan. Like, that is the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah. that is the thing to buyer beware in this instance, right? Where
definitely
you have an option to get a very bespoke, very well made handheld device like an Analog Pocket. And I'm begging them to just make a DS or a Game Boy SP one.
For sure.
But when you introduce more moving parts, like the clamshell aspect to that, there is going to be a lot more room for error, especially if these are being mass produced in a way that is where quality control isn't at the forefront of production. Some of this stuff may break.
Yep.
Very easily. So watch out.
Like you said, buyer beware. I think that's right. Looking at these devices, they do the thing where where the top screen is like, it's a full 16:9 big screen with like very small bezels, if there's bezels at all. I'm trying to like look at this render and tell if they're trying to imply bezels or not. And it looks like maybe there on the side there's some bezels. Whatever. It looks really slick. And then the bottom screen is the smaller, it does look almost DS size, or probably 3DS size a screen there on the bottom. I think if you're setting up a DS emulator for this, and you would probably have it like scaled, that bottom screen scaled to be like correct, and then the top screen would be like, okay, and however big it needs to be compared to that, and not take up that whole screen. I think that would work just fine. And I wonder if like the thing should be powerful enough for 3DS games too. So this could be pretty cool. I mean, having a system where it's like, oh, I got all my games on here, and this is like a really good way to play a Link Between Worlds. I could see myself. I'm like always talking myself into buying these things. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I feel like you're trying to justify it to everyone watching, Grubb.
Exactly.
And you're right. You're 100% right on every aspect you brought up.
Thank you, Jan. That's exactly what I expected to hear.
You know, I never thought about this before, but I feel like a lot of those, not even third party, but cheaper little handhelds, right, that you can get, and there's so many of them at this point that you could probably find a decent quality one with that's like sub $100. Give that to like a friend that is like kind of into games and just load it up with hella shit. That'd be a nice holiday gift.
Absolutely. That was Ron Funch's. He was like asking for some help with some of these things. And then he kind of went off on his own. It was just like he started buying the Ambernick, I think. The one I hadn't really liked for a long time. And he started buying a bunch of those and loading them up games and giving them to all his comedian friends, for gifts and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that is a really good idea. It's like thoughtful, and it's something that people wouldn't necessarily know to go out and get themselves. And the Ambernicks actually tend to come with a lot of games very illegally. They come with a lot of copyrighted games installed on them. Not all those devices actually do that. The Retroid Pockets never include games because they're trying to stay on the straight and narrow. But yeah, you get one of those things, load it up, hand it to like, especially like if you've had like a young kid in your family who's shown interest in that stuff, or it's just shown interest in games or playing like a bunch of Roblox. And it's like, I'm not saying going like, hey, play the stuff I played as a kid, but give it to them, just see what they come up. There's going to be something on there they're going to enjoy. Maybe like an old Club Penguin DS game. I don't know, but they'll enjoy it. So yeah, that's a good idea.
For instance, like Jeff Bakalar's COD bro friends.
Yes.
I think they would enjoy that.
Yes, exactly. She is making progress over here on this level. So we're doing good. We might be through Sonic before the end of this episode. That's not going to happen. All right. You can now play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 offline, but there's a catch. This is from Zach Zweisen at Kotaku. Good news, Skater Punks, the recently released Steam version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 is now playable offline. But in totally whack and weird news, the offline mode is only for Steam Deck users. First released in 2020, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 is a very good remake, blah, blah, blah. But people have discovered this recent patch that enables it to be played offline, only works for Steam Deck users. Jen, it's not often where I'm like, I feel the need to take a stance against this. It's like, I go, okay, the company's doing it and they're taking advantage of us, so whatever. What can I do about it? I feel helpless a lot of times. This one feels like on Steam, having a thing dedicated that only works on the Steam Deck. No, don't do that. The Steam Deck's a PC as well. If you're putting something that works on the Steam Deck, it should work on all PCs. And people are trying to like fake it to say, hey, this is a Steam Deck, even though you're playing on a PC or whatever, and they're having trouble getting that to work. That's stupid. Don't do this. If it's possible to play the thing offline, fucking let us play it offline. What are you doing here? This is stupid. Don't do this.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Do they think just because you can walk around with a Steam Deck, that's like, oh no, that justifies it? Well, guess what? You can also walk around with a laptop.
Fucking
and that can run
laptops.
Steam.
Yeah. Like there's zero difference, really. It's baffling and it frustrates me. But it's a fucking Activision kind of thing to do, though, for sure.
Surprise.
Yep. I'm like, I suppose I should be like, oh well, I do have a Steam Deck, and that's where I was going to play Tony Pro Skater 1+2 anyhow. So, hooray! But I mean, like, does it work on the Roger Ally? Yeah, if I'm like playing it on there. There was zero fucking difference, but that's a Windows, except for it's a Windows machine. Is it not going to? I bet that doesn't work. Well, what is happening here? This is baffling, and they shouldn't do it this way.
Why do they not want Tony Hawk to succeed?
Yeah, they want to keep the shackles on that man. They want to keep him tied down.
Nice
man. He flew too high, and they got jealous, and they tie him down to earth. We'll never let him do a 1080. He wants to. He said so. He wants to try 1080. No, he's way too old for that. Please don't kill Tony Hawk. All right. I'm going to skip down to Zen Studios reportedly cuts staff by 32. This is from Jeffrey Rousseau at GamesIndustry.biz. Zen Studios, the creators behind Pinball FX, has reportedly laid off 32 employees. The news was spotted by Adam Dinez, a community manager at the studio, took to social media to announce that he was affected and looking for a new role. It was spotted when he said that. According to Video Game Layoffs, which tracks games industry job cuts, which is a depressing thing that we need, the site cited a direct source from Zen Studios about the job cuts and put the number of affected staffers at 32. Zen Studios was acquired by, you guessed it, Frank Stallone, Embracer Group, and they have been cutting a bunch of jobs everywhere and refused to comment, it says here. They said an ongoing restructuring program, acknowledging that this will involve the closing of studios and termination projects, which is what they've said previously, actually. This sucks. Zen Studios makes those good pinball games, and they've been... those games have got to be so predictable in how they perform, right? They have their audience, and you make those games, put them out, and it's like the layoffs suggest like, oh, we couldn't have seen this coming. But it's like with a studio like that, you should have been able to see everything coming and understand like what level of investment to make and be able to better plan this. This is one that feels so obviously due to mismanagement that it's especially frustrating to me, Jan.
Yeah, it's so dumb. There's no better word for it, Grubb, but it's mismanagement where it's like you can predict where the market is going and growing. If not growing, then it's the same couple folks wanting to download these digital pinball games. Jeff Bakalar just 40 times.
Yep.
It's just such a bummer.
Yep.
For more and more folks to be losing their jobs. And like we said it earlier in this episode, but like mobile gaming specifically, an audience of 3 billion people, yet people are still being laid off in the industry left and right due to like poor, dumb, idiot managers.
Yep, exactly. And this is a real example of that. Of course, Embracer has seen layoffs at Crystal Dynamics, Beamdog, Gearbox Publishing, a handful of others. They closed some studios, just a mess, a complete mess. And, you see some other publishers being able to sort of weather this, and even them are like laying people off here and there. Like Microsoft, they could probably weather it. Well, they're laying people over at LinkedIn, and they just laid off 10,000 people a couple of months ago. And then that did affect 343 Industries or whatever. But it's like, I don't expect them to just keep laying off more and more people at their gaming studios. But Embracer is in a position where you're like, I do not think we are anywhere near to being on the other side for them. And it seems like it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better, ? Like, can it even get better? I don't know. I don't see how. I don't know what that looks like. So it's just really gruesome to think about Embracer Group. And we're probably going to have more of these stories. And we'll see. We'll see if we get on the other side or if they just dissolve and start selling off assets left and right or go into bankruptcy or something, which seems like a distinct possibility.
Infinite growth is the stupidest fucking term to come out in the tech industry.
Yep.
In the past.
If you have a studio that makes a successful game, that should be it. It should be that simple. Like, hey, you had a successful game. You paid for the cost to make that game, and then you made profits on top of that. But it's not the growth that you imagined in your head, and that's the problem. If we're fighting these demons in our head, what the fuck are we doing here?
You think gold miners operated like this?
I don't listen. Gold miners were they had it right. You just go out in the hills by yourself, start digging, and put it in the water, and hope no one comes and kills you in the middle of the night and steals all your gold. That's the way to live, right there.
So you're saying that these people, these CEOs, are still operating under this even pre-boomer mentality?
Exactly. Almost 25. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What's that?
I was going to say something that may get misconstrued. Let's move on.
Almost 25% of all consoles and PC gamers played Minecraft last month in the U.S. This is from Evan Campbell at GameSpot. Over a decade old, Minecraft is still so hot right now. In fact, almost 1 in 4 PC and console gamers in the U.S. reportedly played the sandbox game in September, showcasing the title's enduring popularity. Circana executive director and expert director Matt Piscatella posted on Twitter that last month, 22% of all U.S. console and PC video game players played Minecraft at least once. Probably unsurprising, but no other games seem to come close to hitting that percentage, even including Roblox and Fortnite. This comes just days after it was revealed that Microsoft has sold over 300 million copies at Minecraft Live 2023. I don't think they sold 300 million copies at that event. Probably just they revealed that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that, Jan, and that's because I am not in that orbit of people who are always playing Minecraft. But I mean, for a while there, I'm like, I definitely knew that was happening. You know, every gaming YouTube video was a person playing Minecraft, and even that feels like that's not the case anymore. But I don't think that's because fewer Minecraft videos are getting made. I think it's because more different kinds of videos are getting made as well. But yeah, I would be surprised. Like, the poll today is going to be about this, and I want to see like how close to that 22%. Like our audience is. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a double-digit percentage, though. When we ask people, have you played Minecraft in the last month, even once? I'm going to be interested to see what that response is. And it's a game where I do always think about, like, yeah, I could play Minecraft at any moment. At any moment, I could play Minecraft. I haven't for a while, but it is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, if someone said, let's play Minecraft, no problem. Let's boot it up. Let's go. I'm ready. I would love that. So I can still kind of see this, but that number is shocking still, regardless of all that. How do you feel about it?
I'm on the other side of this fence, Jeff Grubb. I don't think it's shocking at all.
Okay, cool.
Minecraft is like obscenely popular, and it's just, I don't want to say a wholesome game, because there are mods out there.
Yeah, and I've seen stuff on Pornhub that will make you turn into blocks.
Yeah, and there's scenes that are not so wholesome of the Minecraft, but it's just like a very easy game to just lose yourself in. It presents a similar feeling of escapism that Spider-Man 2 does. And yes, I'm equating Minecraft to Spider-Man 2, where you could just lose hours just because you wind up figuring out and creating your own goal. This came up in the Giant Bomb Discord yesterday, I believe. And I said, like, yo, like, I'm 100% down to fire up Minecraft again with like this current iteration of the team. And I think we would have a different type of fun than when we were all playing Minecraft earlier in the pandemic, just because of the different variables. And you just don't know how people will wind up behaving, right? Like, you would expect Dan to just constantly grief everyone and like get buckets of lava and figure out how to make TNT. But I don't know, maybe Dan will just wind up becoming like a glass blower. Right. He's just like
he goes and every day we find him. He's like, I dug deeper today. I just mined a bunch more stuff out of this hole. I'm just going to be down here. Don't worry about me. I could see that happening. I think you would probably find ways to grief us too, but
there's a mod / game mode for Minecraft. I don't know if you can do it through the Microsoft version, called Skyblock, where you pretty much start with like a block of dirt and one tree, and then from there you're just supposed to just keep building, and it's permadeath. Ooh. So if you die, then that person is just gone from the server. Ooh. Okay, Skyblock is available on Microsoft Bedrock. It's really fun. Also, Minecraft holds a special place in my heart because my little cousin and I wasn't necessarily into the videos or the creators she'd be watching, but it'd just be a way for us to like bond about like, okay, like we're watching a game being made, and then like we could go play this, you and I, and then occasionally it'd spin out and try and do it ourselves.
Yeah, I'm like, as my kids get a little bit older, I'm like, I might encourage Minecraft over Roblox if possible. Because I feel like I can have more control over Minecraft, and Roblox is the Wild West with them interacting with other real human beings. It's like, no, hey, guess what? Dad's going to set up a Minecraft server for you and your friends, and it's going to be your guys to play with. Do what you want in there, but I'll have the keys to the kingdom and stuff like that, and I'll feel good about that. I know that trying to have that kind of control long term is a complete fool's errand for as a father, but I would like it for a little while at least. But for when it comes to like me playing it, enjoying it, I'm like, you mentioned something about like, oh, compared to the Spider-Man, I looked it up, I Googled it, Spider-Man web slinging mod for Minecraft, and now I'm like, I might fucking install this tonight and get this going. This looks like so much fun.
There was a mod for Minecraft, I forget the name of it, but it introduced like it turned it basically into like Quake.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty decent shooter for all this stuff in Minecraft and the tools. Wow, that video you're showing right now, it looks actually pretty amazing.
It looks so dope. It's for audio listeners, it is just someone with basically a grappling hook that works like Spider-Man, but they got a Spider-Man skin on. They know what they're doing. Then he just glided. Okay,
oh, that's really cool.
All right, we're
getting Spider-Man 2.
Yep, this is Spider-Man 2 now.
But the wild thing and the cool thing with Minecraft is just like how the community has wound up building maps of real life locations. In the GB Discord yesterday, someone shared that someone had painstakingly created Disneyland. And it was a pretty one-for-one type of recreation. So, I mean, imagine like, the gimmicks are old enough to be able to use a mouse and keyboard or a controller and just explore around that. And then from there, they could build their own stuff in Minecraft on top of like the existing locations that are built.
I mean, they would even like, if we're building stuff like that, they love doing VR and going to places. We could like build it and then put on the VR headset and go visit it in like real scale or whatever. They'd be into that. So, another round of Minecraft is in the cards somewhere there, Jan. We'll figure something out.
When we have time, we have too many great ideas.
Great ideas. It's in the cards. Like I said, we'll see if it ever gets dealt out, but we'll see. All right. I have the poll here somewhere. Let me bring this up that we discussed yesterday. Let me frame it up properly because I just put that video there. Do you ever buy games that you know are bad? I'm gonna say hell yeah I do. And 22% said hell yeah I do. 25% say yes, and 53% say no. I was at a point in my life, Jan, for a long time where I was very scared of buying a bad game because it would be like, that was such a waste of money. Oh my God. Right. And waste of my parents' gift that I would get twice a year. But now I'm like, I am at a point where I deeply appreciate playing a lot of bad games because I think it gives me a good perspective on things. And I'm glad that like so many people said, yeah, well, let's go. Buying a really bad game every once in a while can be a good thing or a fun thing. How does that work for you, Jan? I mean, obviously we do it on the site and it's fun to play, but like if it was just like you and your friends hanging out, would you ever like buy a bad game to have like a Mystery Science Theater kind of fun night with it or something like that?
I think only if it was dramatically reduced in sale. Like if it was still full priced, it would still be a harder trigger to pull. Unless, the homies and I went all in on a game together. It's funny because Costco used to only sell bad games, Grubb.
Yes.
There was a period of time where Costco would not sell like the latest and greatest PS2 games. It would sell like the red titles, right? The ones that were labeled as greatest hits that were super cheap. And a lot of it was 3DO games.
Really?
For a while.
That's wild.
Until like Costco decided like, oh, no one's buying these. Let's actually sell all the good games too.
I found a $7 copy of Tom Clancy's, I think, Ghost Recon. It was the turn-based like Fire Emblem style Tom Clancy game for the 3DS, and it was like a launch game for that. And I found it for $7 at Sam's Club. And I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good deal. And I got that, and that game surprisingly good. But I don't think anybody knew that because it got lost in the shuffle of launch games for the 3DS. But yeah, for bad games, I think that they are going to go down. But like I got a physical copy of Balan's Wonderworld up there on my wall, and that was like $5, and that was about a year after it came out. I'm like, yeah, bad games like definitely wait on them. But yeah, if you can get them cheap, and you should be able to get them cheap pretty quickly, yeah, go for it. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Thank you. Hammond of Texas says Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. It's a good game, a sleeper hit.
Oh boy. What I would. The wrench that will be thrown here is I will pay top dollar for a B game, though.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, listen, you just love that Jerry Seinfeld movie so much. So
I know.
The recent slate of B games and just second tier games, they've been getting better and better. And I don't know how they're performing across the board, but like Dead Island 2 did really, really good. And I'm like, hey, let's keep that going. I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Let's see. We'll have a new poll here in a second. But in the meantime, Jan, why don't you tell people where they could find you, what we have going on the website, all that stuff?
You can find me just here. I'm always here, y'all. I don't do anything else except drink coffee and be here. But that's not an indictment. I love being here. I always love being here. Let me tell you.
Damn right.
What we got going on later today, we have a TNT where we're playing Halo Infinite. We're gonna run it up. I have no idea what it's gonna be like. I forgot to download it, and
it's only like 100 gigabytes.
Oh, great! That's cool. That's fine. I got the space.
Yeah.
What else do we got? We also got Voicemail Dump Truck later today, and after Voicemail Dump Truck. Well, everybody, get your forks out. It's the 4th of July. Nothing bad can happen because Friday Night Forking on Giant Bomb keeps rolling. And, I hear from a little birdie of Grubb that you'll be on today.
I'm going to save that man. I'm going to save him. I'm going to do my best to get him back to society.
He needs the coordinates.
Yes.
To get home. Also, I need to share with you a document because he may be asking you questions and all the answers are in this document.
Okay. Sounds good. Cool. Protect the business.
Oh, Sean, you can also download just multiplayer on PC Game Pass because I thought about doing that this morning, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. So cool. Yeah. Download Halo on Steam if you're on PC, so you only download the multiplayer. Okay, cool. Yeah, everyone get that done. Get that ready. Yeah.
Sorry. Game S mornings as well tomorrow, and UPF. We got to figure this out, Grubb, because do we want to do a double feature of Spider-Man 2 and then Super Mario Brothers Wonder, or just Super Mario Brothers Wonder? Dan brought up the idea of like doing a 30-minute pre-show to the UPF of just me playing Spider-Man 2. I don't know.
I mean, I'll come hang out with you for that. We could like, I would be totally down with elongating the sort of overall what we're streaming, doing a little bit of Spider-Man up front, and then maybe dedicating more time to Mario.
Play both at the same time. You're right. You're right, Chad.
Definitely possible. Yeah, definitely make that happen. We'll figure it out, though, everybody. There will definitely be a lot of Mario, and there should be a significant amount of Spider-Man. I want to play that on the site, too, so we'll see. All right. The new poll. Have you played Minecraft in the last month? Not ever. Have you played Minecraft in the last month? Yes or no? I'm just curious. Just want to see what the state is of Minecraft in our community here. We will discuss that on the show tomorrow here on Giant Bomb. Speaking of which, stick with us today in about 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes. We'll be doing the TNT.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so get back with us then. Until then, though, Jan, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, talking about video games. I appreciate it.
Best way to start a Thursday.
Thank you all for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Mwah.